The hypocrisy is glaring, the contradictions staggering, and the incompetence unmistakable. Trump, the self-proclaimed master dealmaker, has once again wavered in the face of a foreign economic adversary, proving that his tough talk on China is just another hollow performance for his political base. The delay in tariffs on cheap Chinese goods is not a well-calculated maneuver. It is a desperate attempt to buy time while his administration scrambles to contain the political and economic fallout of his erratic policies. This move exposes the uncomfortable truth that Trump's so-called trade war is little more than an election year gimmick, one that now risks backfiring as both Beijing and American businesses see through the charade. Yet the Democrats, ever eager to capitalize on any perceived weakness, have done little more than offer empty rhetoric and partisan attacks, instead of proposing meaningful solutions to counter China's economic aggression. They have fixated on Trump's personal failings while conveniently ignoring their own failures to address the systemic issues that allowed China to gain such a powerful foothold in global trade. Their outrage is performative, their solutions non-existent. Meanwhile, the working-class Americans who were promised relief from China's exploitative trade practices continue to suffer, abandoned by both sides in a game of political chess where only corporate interests win. Make no mistake, this delay in tariffs is not about strategic diplomacy. It is about political survival. Trump's economic policies have proven to be nothing more than a series of reactionary gambits, each designed to maintain the illusion of control while sidestepping the consequences of his administration's miscalculations. The American public is being fed yet another round of political theater, designed to distract from the uncomfortable reality that neither party has a real plan to address China's economic dominance. Will this latest move stabilize the markets? Will this latest move stabilize the market, or is it just another stall tactic before the next inevitable crisis? Stay with us till the end. Hello and welcome back to Innovative Check YouTube channel, where we delve into the innovative and transformative projects changing our world. If you're new to the channel and enjoy learning about innovation stories around the world, you've come to the right place. Please subscribe, like, and comment to help boost our videos on YouTube. Donald Trump signed an executive order delaying tariffs on Chinese goods, a move that immediately sparked reactions across political and economic circles. The order, which temporarily halts additional tariffs on low-cost parcels from China, was framed as a necessary step to allow the Department of Commerce to build a more efficient system for tariff collection. Critics, however, see this as a calculated political move, reflecting a deeper unease in the administration about economic retaliation from Beijing. The de minimis threshold, a trade loophole allowing small-value imports to bypass duties and taxes, has long been a topic of contention. Trump's administration has repeatedly pointed to its misuse, alleging that Chinese companies exploit it to flood the U.S. market with goods that evade standard tariff policies. But, more than just a matter of trade, the loophole has also been tied to more severe concerns, including the influx of fentanyl and other synthetic opioids into the country. Trump has justified his tariffs on China as a means to combat this crisis, but his sudden decision to delay them raises questions about the true motivations behind the move. The timing is especially curious. Just as tensions between the U.S. and China have reached a boiling point, with both nations imposing and threatening new tariffs, Trump's decision signals a moment of hesitation. A source close to the Hill suggested that this was not a long-term fix but rather a strategic delay. It buys time, the source noted, implying that Trump is looking for leverage, or perhaps even an off-ramp in the trade war that has defined much of his administration's economic policy. The backdrop to this decision is an increasingly tense global trade landscape. Earlier this month, the U.S. announced new tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico, further complicating an already fragile North American trade environment. Meanwhile, Trump has repeatedly threatened tariffs on the EU, arguing that European policies have long been unfair to American businesses. While Beijing's retaliation against Trump's 10% tariffs initially included levies on American fuel imports, the decision to delay these measures suggests that China, too, is calculating its next move carefully. Trump's economic team has defended the decision as a measured approach to avoid economic instability. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin emphasized that the administration remains committed to holding China accountable, but wants to ensure that any policy changes are enacted with minimal disruption to American businesses and consumers. Mnuchin pointed to the volatility of global markets, suggesting that a premature tariff imposition could do more harm than good. Trump's political opponents have seized on the delay as evidence of inconsistency, if not outright weakness. It's yet another example of this administration talking tough but backing down when it matters most, said Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Trump had no problem imposing tariffs when they were politically convenient, but now, when faced with real economic consequences, he's suddenly hesitant. Just a quick reminder to hit the like button below. YouTube has been restricting my videos a lot recently because of bots, so your like does help out this video massively in terms of the algorithm in YouTube. Others see an ulterior motive, the 2020 election looming large over Trump's economic policy. With key Rust Belt states closely watching trade negotiations, any misstep in tariff enforcement could have electoral consequences. Farmers, manufacturers, and small business owners have already voiced concerns about the unpredictability of Trump's trade policy. While some support his hardline stance against China, others worry about the collateral damage inflicted on American industries. His isn't the first time Trump has adjusted his approach to China tariffs. His presidency has been marked by a series of escalating and de-escalating trade measures, often dictated more by political calculus than economic pragmatism. The pattern suggests a strategy of brinkmanship, pushing as far as possible before retreating at the last moment. This has been evident in his negotiations with Beijing, where initial threats of sweeping tariffs have frequently been followed by partial concessions or delays. Economists remain divided on the effectiveness of this approach. Some argue that Trump's tariffs have forced China to make concessions, leading to a renegotiation of key trade terms. Others contend that the erratic nature of U.S. policy has only served to destabilize global markets, creating uncertainty that hurts American businesses as much as their Chinese counterparts. China, for its part, has responded cautiously. While Beijing has not immediately escalated retaliatory measures, state media have framed Trump's delay as a sign of weakness. The People's Daily, a government-run newspaper, suggested that the U.S. is beginning to recognize the limits of its trade war strategy. The American administration is facing the consequences of its own actions, the newspaper stated. The Chinese economy remains resilient, while U.S. markets react nervously to every new tariff announcement. Trump's move also has implications for major U.S. corporations. Retailers that rely on Chinese imports, including Walmart and Amazon, have previously warned that new tariffs could drive up prices for consumers. The decision to delay these tariffs may offer temporary relief, but uncertainty remains. Meanwhile, the semiconductor industry is closely watching developments. Companies like TSMC and ASML, both critical players in the global chip supply chain, have been caught in the crossfire of U.S.-China tensions. With Washington tightening export restrictions on key technologies, the delay in tariffs may provide a brief reprieve for an industry already grappling with supply chain disruptions and geopolitical pressure. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and comment. Despite Trump's insistence that the delay is a tactical decision rather than a retreat, the broader perception remains that his administration is struggling to maintain a consistent stance. The White House has offered no concrete timeline for when the tariffs might be reinstated, leaving businesses and investors in a state of uncertainty. One of the major sticking points in trade negotiations has been intellectual property protections. The U.S. has long accused China of engaging in unfair trade practices, including forced technology transfers and industrial espionage. While the Phase 1 trade deal signed in early 2020 aimed to address some of these issues, enforcement has remained a challenge. The delay in tariffs could be interpreted as an indication that the White House is looking to revisit these agreements rather than escalate tensions further. Domestically, the delay is also being scrutinized through the lens of Trump's broader economic record. While the stock market has seen periods of significant growth under his administration, it has also been prone to volatility driven by trade uncertainties. The temporary nature of this delay does little to assuage fears that the trade war remains unresolved and that future escalations are still on the table. With the election approaching, every policy move carries political weight. Trump has built his brand on being a tough negotiator, someone who doesn't back down in the face of opposition. The decision to pause tariffs, therefore, runs the risk of being interpreted as a contradiction of that image. At the same time, the president has shown a keen awareness of how economic disruptions affect voter sentiment. If the delay helps stabilize markets and assuage consumer fears in the short term, it may serve as a strategic move to bolster his electoral standing. As businesses, policymakers, and global leaders digest the implications of Trump's latest maneuver, one thing remains clear: the U.S.-China trade war is far from over. This delay, while significant, is not an endpoint, but rather another chapter in an ongoing economic battle. What happens next will depend on a complex interplay of political strategy, economic realities, and diplomatic calculations. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome your thoughts and questions on this complex and vital subject. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Your subscriptions and likes motivate us to generate more content, so please keep supporting us. Check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I will see you on the other side.